You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
Well, with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India. It's filthy. The air is filthy. The Paris Accord.
Although Donald Trump's words from the last presidential debate drew sharp comments from Indian citizens and politicians alike, with some even asking PM Modi to deliver an apt response to the US president, for once what Trump said about India's air quality is not really far from the truth. In what is being said to be the first ever comprehensive analysis of air pollution's global impact, Health Effects Institute in the State of Global Air 2020 study found out that air pollution in India contributed to the deaths of more than 116,000 infants who did not survive their first month in 2019. But perhaps it's not surprising at all considering that India once again also topped in the annual list of cities with the worst air quality in the world. According to a World Air Quality Report compiled by IQAir, 21 of the world's 30 cities with the worst air pollution are in India. Now, air pollution has finally made it to the political discourse, but are governments taking serious action? In the meantime, how is it affecting and deteriorating India's health? In this podcast, we'll hear from Dr. Rajesh Chawla, Senior Consultant on Respiratory Medicine, Critical Care and Sleep Medicine at Indraprastha Apollo Hospitals, Dr. Arvind Kumar, Chest Surgeon at Ganga Ram Hospital and founder of Lung Care Foundation, and environmentalist Vimlendu Jha. You're tuned in to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect the headline-making news for you. And I'm your host, Shorbori. With an average of 98.6 particulate matter concentration, Delhi, which is the seat of the central government, is at the top of the most polluted capital cities in the world. Last year, in November, authorities were forced to declare a public health emergency in the city as the AQI figures shot up to unprecedented levels between October and November. And we're seeing as poisonous as 1,000 ppm on some days. And it's that time of the year again when we can visibly see the polluted air shroud the capital. But this year, the impact of pollution is expected to be different with the coronavirus crisis at hand. Although there are no conclusive studies on whether pollution increases threats of COVID-19, simply put, air pollution damages various parts of the body by infiltrating the blood vessels, causing inflammation and suppressing immunity. And there's large-scale evidence to support its contribution to heart diseases, stroke, diabetes, asthma, cancer, and other comorbidities, all of which are known to increase complications in COVID-19 patients. But is winter the only polluted time of the year, and is Delhi the only problem? Listen to what Mr. Vimlendu Jha says.
Right now, the narrative is all around stubble burning. People say that stubble burning is the main contributor to air pollution in North India, which is false because it's an episodic source in the sense it only happens for around, say, 30 to 45 days, and it varies on different days. In fact, if you look at several data points from SAFAR and Central Pollution Control Board, the contribution of stubble burning to Delhi's ambient air quality could vary from 1% to 30%. On a bad day, it could actually be 40%. So it's not stubble burning alone that actually makes Delhi's air toxic or makes Delhi a gas chamber. Those other continuous sources of pollution that Delhi keeps getting throughout the year, be it the vehicular pollution, almost 30 to 35% of Delhi's air pollution could be attributed to vehicular pollution. We have more than 1 crore vehicles, 10 million cars, 10 million vehicles is what we actually have in Delhi. Construction and demolition dust, the unregulated, haphazard construction demolition activities that keeps happening in Delhi. You know, Delhi is always work in progress in that sense. That contributes around 25 to 30% again. Open burning of waste. The municipalities have really not done anything over years. Those have become temples of corruption in that sense, or an inefficient governance. And almost, say, 20% of Delhi's air pollution could actually be attributed to open burning of garbage. And then there are, Delhi is not just about air, doesn't have a political boundary. Air shed plays a very, very important role. Almost in a 70 to 100 kilometer radius of Delhi, there are around 12 thermal power plants, and they pollute. So Delhi might have shut its own thermal power plants, but these thermal power plants that are operational in the periphery of Delhi, they pollute Delhi again. So I've right now listed one cause, which is episodic, which is stubble burning. And of course, next month, we'll actually have firecrackers. That will be another episodic source of pollution. But the other sources of pollution are throughout the year. And that is what makes Delhi a hotspot.
Yes, unfortunately, pollution has become a year-round phenomenon in Delhi, as Mr. Vimlendu Jha explained. Now, moving on to the second question, is Delhi the only problem? According to the World Air Quality Report, and I'm quoting the report here, quote, India again heads this report's ranking of annual PM 2.5 levels by city, with half of the most 50 polluted cities being in India. No Indian cities included in this report met the World Health Organization target for annual pollution exposure during 2019. Additionally, the country still has a relatively limited air quality monitoring network given its population size, with many communities and highly populated cities without access to real-time information. End quote. In fact, India's air quality is so toxic that the State of Global Air 2020 report also found out that the highest health risk in India is now caused by air pollution, with 1.67 million deaths in 2019 from heart diseases, stroke, diabetes, lung cancer, chronic lung disease, and neonatal diseases attributed to bad air. We dug up chest surgeon Arvind Kumar's interview from the Quint archives. Listen to him talk about what air pollution is doing to our bodies and how it's amplifying our health risks.
So I'm a chest surgeon who's been practicing in the city of New Delhi for 30 years now. So I have been operating on people's lungs for 30 years. And I have seen a change in the color of lungs of people. So from a mostly pink lungs, as I used to see way back in 1988 when I started my career at AIIMS New Delhi, only in smokers I would see black dots and black deposits. Today, I rarely see a pink lung, irrespective of the age of the patients I'm operating. So whether they are adults, they have black spots, or even teenagers whom I get to operate occasionally have black deposits on their lungs, which basically denotes the amount of toxins. I don't remember when I last saw a pink lung in the OT, and the clinical manifestation of that is the increase in the asthmatic problems in children, increase in pneumonias in children, increase in various lung infections in children as well as adults, increase in the number of COPD cases, a frightening development, and that is 4 changes that I'm noticing in lung cancer. Number 1, an absolute increase in the incidence. So there are more cases coming now. Number 2, occurrence at a younger age. So earlier we were seeing them in 50s and 60s, and now we are seeing them in 40s, even 30s. 10% of my patients today are in 30s, and recently I saw a 28-year-old. Number 3, very few women earlier. Now nearly 40% of patients are women, and most of them are non-smokers from non-smoking families. And the most dreadful of the 4 is a change in the smoker-non-smoker ratio. So 1988, this ratio was 9:1. So 90% will be smokers, very few non-smokers. And recent data, my own data, shows it to be 1:1.
So while we breathe this toxic air, what are governments doing? After facing a lot of pressure from the civil society and the Supreme Court, the centre rolled out the National Clean Air Programme, or the NCAP, last year. Now it's an ambitious 5-year action plan with a tentative target of 20 to 30% reduction in concentrations of PM10 and PM 2.5 in 102 non-attainment cities by year 2024. But according to a report on Mongabay, while some cities like Hyderabad has spent around Rs 7.8 crores on increased monitoring efforts, and Raipur is leading the way with green paving activities worth Rs 4.2 crores, Delhi hasn't even made it to the list so far. And talking about Delhi's situation, Mr. Vimlendu Jha says the state and centre are engaged in toxic politics.
Delhi government blames the centre and Punjab government, and at most sometimes the LG, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Central government blames Punjab government and Delhi government. This is what is called toxic politics.
Even as the air pollution has visible detrimental impacts to our health, there's no foolproof solution to escape pollution if you're in Delhi. But as the air quality worsens, let's revisit Dr. Rajesh Chawla's tips on how to keep safe.
In the city like Delhi, during winters, there is always a problem. If one doesn't have any fever and gets a cough, nasal discharge or eye discharge, which has not been there, or a difficulty in breathing, this could be related to the exposure to the pollutant and the gases in the environment. You feel tired in the city of Delhi. That's probably because of the gases which you inhale when you go to your work or when you work in open air. Carry an hanky with you and maybe a wet hanky. It can avoid particles going into, although it cannot prevent all the gases going inside your lungs, but it can prevent the particulate matter going inside. And similarly, when you come home, you should wash your face. You should remove your clothes so that whatever is sticking to your body will not go in. Don't lift a small kid unless you have washed yourself. That's also important. So everybody thinks that they are not having any impact because of pollution. But slowly, over the years, in the coming years, a lot of people are going to have respiratory illnesses. One should try to avoid pollutant area. Suppose you can avoid. Don't go on the busy hours outside. You can avoid. Similarly, these cleaning yourself, doing gargles, taking bath, removing your clothes when you reach home, all these will definitely will have some impact on the amount of pollutant you inhale.
If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story playlist for episodic updates. We're live on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, JioSaavn, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website and check out the podcast section. For any feedback, shoot an email to podcasts@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.